Welcome to the Cowbell Kingdom Road Reaction Postgame Show. I'm Jonathan Santiago. That is James Ham. And we are recapping tonight's game between the Denver Nuggets and Sacramento Kings. The Kings coming away with a 109-95 victory over the Denver Nuggets. It's the Kings' first win in the Mile High City since April 5th, 2008. So a little monumental victory here tonight for the Kings, and also their second win in as many nights. So that's good progress to see the Kings be able to win back-to-back games here. And this is not an easy back-to-back. I mean, of course, the Denver Nuggets are not the same Denver Nuggets team that once set a league record, 90 points in the paint a couple of years ago against the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago. This is a different Denver Nuggets team, but obviously the travel, heading up to the increased altitude there in the Mile High City, makes it not an easy game. And the Kings came out and really took control of this one, really in the third quarter.
Yeah, John, this is the first time the Sacramento Kings have won the second night of a back-to-back in Denver since 2002. And surprisingly, this happens a lot. I guess the travel to and from the airport is not clean there in Denver. It's a long ride, and then you have the altitude change. You had DeMarcus Cousins with a sore hip. A lot of people were surprised that DeMarcus Cousins actually played in this game. Overall, absolutely incredible performance by the big three of Rudy Gay, DeMarcus Cousins, and Isaiah Thomas. You know, what do they combine to score? Like 92 of the 109 points. So the other 9 players that played combined for like 17 points. That's probably not going to be that good if you keep doing that. But, yeah, a good win. And, you know, this team is all of a sudden got 20 wins, don't they?
Yeah, I like what our friend Akis Yurkassis over at Sacktown Royalty tweeted during the game. He said that Rudy, DeMarcus, and Isaiah aren't the big three for the Kings. They're the only three for the Kings. I think that's appropriate. That makes sense because this Kings team, they really haven't been able to get any contributions from anyone consistently this season outside of those 3 players. All right, let's move on. You have one more point, James?
Yeah, let's just answer the question that Eric in Sacramento just keeps sending us. Number 1, no, Jimmer is not deceased. He is not dead. Jimmer was in Denver. He is not dead. Go ahead, John. Move on.
He's still alive. He's
still alive.
I'm
he
not
just
sure.
got his second DMP CD in a row, and your guess is as good as mine. I don't think we will ever really get the full explanation as to why this is, why Travis Outlaw is playing the shooting guard position, but it is a reality and people need to move forward. But anyway, go ahead, John.
Yeah, it is a reality that Travis Outlaw is getting back up 2 minutes over Jimmer Fredette, and it's understandable that Ray McCallum, I mean, he is the guy that they drafted. They want to see what they have in him. He's going to get the minutes at the backup point guard, but for whatever reason, we won't know. I mean, it's all we can say for anyone that asks, it's Michael Malone's coaching decision to go with Travis Outlaw at the backup 2 over Jimmer Fredette, and that's why Jimmer Fredette is not playing right now. Is because Ray McCallum is a guy that they want to see, and for whatever reason, he wants to go to Travis Outlaw. So it's his decision. You have to respect it and just move forward, unfortunately. I mean, you can complain about it, but it is what it is. We're not the head coaches. He's the coach, and it's his decision. All right, let's move on.
Wait. For the 4.5 million Travis Outlaw fans out there, he played 1 minute and 54 seconds tonight of game action. So just keep that square. Rudy Gay played most of the backup 2 minutes, and actually Ray McCallum actually played as a backup 2 as well. But go ahead, John.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's move on now. Point number 1 of what to watch: the health of DeMarcus Cousins. Last night, after we talked to DeMarcus following the win over the Celtics, he did not sound very confident about playing tonight in Denver. Actually, you know, I asked him if he felt limited in terms of his mobility because of the left hip flexor injury. He said he wasn't able to do some of the regular things that he normally can do, such as drive to the basket. That was just a challenge for him. And tonight he was able to come out. He was a game time decision. He started. he had a pretty darn good game for this Kings team in the victory, finishing with 27 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 blocks. Big night for DeMarcus Cousins, 8 of 16 shooting, 50% shooting from the field. We know that DeMarcus is a guy who's going to play through injury. He plays hurt majority of the time, but it was a little different last night to hear him kind of be a little unsure of whether or not he would play tonight. But, of course, when he's out there on the floor, he's a guy who's going to give 110%, and obviously that's what he gave the Kings tonight.
Yeah, John, he's a warrior. That's what people, a lot of things that are wrong with DeMarcus Cousins, but there are also a lot of things that are right with DeMarcus Cousins. The one thing is this guy plays hurt all the time. He is an absolute beast. He does not like to sit out games. He sat out 8 games this season. The Kings are 0-8. He knows that. Tonight he was limping noticeably last night. He was hurting. He got really beat up. He thought he may have even re-injured his left hip flexor. And then to come out and, run a plus-minus of plus 36 and just absolutely, he's the difference maker in this game. He was absolutely dominant. Sure, he turned the ball over 4 times, but come on, 5 blocks? Maybe he plays better hurt. Maybe it keeps him in better position. I'm not quite sure, but pretty tremendous performance by DeMarcus Cousins.
All right, let's move on to point 2 in our 3 things to watch. Consistency from Ben McLemore, and tonight Ben finished with 6 points on 2 of 10 shooting, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, a block. We were talking about this before we went on the post-game show, and it's just, for him, he makes mistakes on defense, simple basketball IQ mistakes on defense. KYP, know your personnel. You wonder how he's going to improve that down the line. Does he have the mental capacity to improve that? Obviously, he has a lot of raw talent, a lot of ability. But really for him, I just think it's the mental part of the game now. We know that he has the abilities, he has the skills. It's about sharpening those skills the rest of this season and in the off season. But obviously, moving forward in his career, he's going to need to sharpen the mental part of his game as well.
Yeah, John, between Randy Foye, who goes 6 of 11 from three-point land, and Evan Fournier, who goes 4 of 5, the opposing 2 guards literally went 10 of 16 from the three-point land. They each scored 27 points. Clearly, they were guarding other people. This isn't all Ben McLemore's fault, but a large percentage of it was his fault. He just does not stay with his man. And tonight he comes away with 3 steals, which is, I think that's a career high, 3 steals.
Yeah.
So that's good because he was playing the passing lanes a little bit better. He was more active. But for most of this season, he's basically attempted to play the passing lanes, not play the passing lanes, not come away with any steals, and given up wide open 3-pointers again and again and again. You can't let Evan Fournier score 27 points on 8 of 11 shooting. To me, we've seen players score career highs. Jared Sullinger drops 31 and 16, but we're talking about a jump shooter. And what I saw tonight was it didn't even. He was so off balance on the defensive end. McLemore was, and he would run out to guard Fournier, and Fournier would run right by him. Or then he would sag off Fournier, and Fournier would go, all right, and he just drop a 3-pointer right in over the top of it. There was just, how does a guy like Evan Fournier and like his low-top European shoes get over on you? And that's what happened. And, McLemore has to improve quickly. I know we talked to Pete D'Alessandro for Sunday Musings, and he talked about this last 27 games, 28 games is the length of a college season. And at the end of this, you no longer have the excuse that you're a rookie. So you have 28 games to be ready to be a second-year player. And tonight, once again, I like Ben McLemore. He's a good young kid. 2 of 10 from the field, 6 points, and he gets torched. That's not going to work. It's not going to work next season. He needs to get these games out of the way right now and start moving forward and progressing. I did like that he went to the hoop a couple of times, but still, he hit 2 baskets all night.
All right, let's move on to our third point here. The progression, some progression from Carl Landry, and we look at Carl tonight. He finishes with 11 minutes played, 3 points, 1 rebound, one rebound on the offensive end, an assist. 1 of 2 shooting, not as good obviously as last night where he goes and finishes with 10 points on 4 of 6 shooting, I believe 6 rebounds off the Kings bench. Kind of a breakout game for the season for Carl. His plus minus was atrocious tonight, minus 17. You had the stat, I think, James, right off the bat, he was minus 12 on the floor for the Kings. And obviously that bench gave the Kings nothing, and Carl Landry was a major reason for why the Kings got nothing out of their bench tonight. But it's an up and down. It's kind of like Ben McLemore in a sense, except, of course, he's coming from injury. He is an experienced player, but he's still trying to find his rhythm in the remainder of these games here for the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, what Landry is doing is he's awoken off the bench. All of a sudden, we're seeing him smiling. We're seeing him do this flex thing, which I'm not quite sure what that is. He did it last night, and then tonight, we saw it when Rudy Gay tried to pull it off, and it didn't go so well. It was like a -12, -13, and like the first couple of minutes he was on the floor, he just got destroyed, or the Kings got destroyed while he was on the floor. And I know plus minus isn't a great stat, but the fact is, when Malone literally has to turn to Reggie Evans, who's never played for the Sacramento Kings, he logs 8 minutes, goes, doesn't score a basket, but he does what Reggie Evans does. He had 5 rebounds, he had a steal, he intimidated, he set picks. Between him and Quincy Acee, again, this team has too many power forwards. I mean, dude, I think they all played like 15 minutes or 11 minutes. Yeah, I mean, Jason Thompson, 15 and a half minutes. Quincy Acee, 11 minutes. Reggie Evans, 8 minutes. Carl Landry, 11 minutes, 22 seconds. There's no way to get any continuity. There's no way to get any sort of rhythm in that amount of time. But the fact is, there was a couple of players, especially in the second quarter, that absolutely got lit up by the Denver Nuggets, and Malone pulled the trigger on him and didn't go back to him. And, Landry, he played a little bit in the second half, but same thing. Travis Outlaw just got absolutely slaughtered in that second quarter, and whatever they talked about at halftime really worked, John.
All right, player of the game pick. I mean, any other night, these guys, Rudy Gay finishing with 32 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, a block, 12 of 23 shooting. He was phenomenal in the second half. What did he finish with? I pulled the stats up here. He was 7 of 11, 22 points in the second half alone. Isaiah Thomas, he could not miss as well. 12 of 16 for 33 points and 6 assists, 6 turnovers though for Isaiah. But obviously, I still got to go with DeMarcus Cousins with his 27 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 blocks, a steal, filling up the stat sheet and doing it on all sorts of from all sorts of angles for the Kings tonight in the victory.
Yeah, John, that's it. It's the sniff test. You're watching the game and you can see that anytime DeMarcus Cousins went out of the game, the Kings struggled. As soon as they put him back in the game, they dominated and blew the Nuggets out. I mean, this was a very, very good performance by DeMarcus Cousins. He ran a plus 36. Again, I don't make so much of the plus minus, but a plus 36 just like stands out. It's glaring. It's like, holy cow. So, 8 points in the third quarter and 3 blocks. That's really when the tide turned in this game.
Yeah.
The Kings,
Let's talk about that.
I missed that, John. What was that?
I said let's talk about that third quarter. I mean, where they had, they held the Nuggets to 28% shooting. They shot 60% from the field. It was really the turning point of the game.
Yeah, they outscored the Nuggets 39-18. They, you're right, 28.6% shooting for the Nuggets, 61% for the Kings. Everyone who played in that quarter, played solid. Even Jason Thompson, I know he didn't score a point, and he only had 2 rebounds in his 8 minutes in the third quarter, but he had a tremendous block that again stemmed the tide. I just thought the defensive effort. I mean, in that quarter alone, the Kings had 6 blocks. And I mean, that's impressive. They had 6 blocks and 5 steals. And that's what you need to do. You know, Denver's going to keep attacking, going to keep going at the rim, and the Kings really, really held tough, especially against like Mozgov, who went 0 for 6 in that quarter.
Yeah, I definitely looking at that third quarter, those third quarter stats there. Another big thing I noticed at that third quarter, Evan Fournier, he had 20 points at halftime, and he goes scoreless in that third quarter, in that third period. So they were able to shut down Fournier in that third period. He only scored 7 more points in the game to finish with 27. So to slow Fournier down, who was basically leading the charge for the Nuggets bench, where obviously the Nuggets had the huge advantage there, with the Kings not really getting anything from their bench in terms of production. To shut him down in that third quarter, right, was something that I thought was huge as well.
Yeah, John, and this is the second game in a row where the Sacramento Kings have held an opponent to under 40% shooting. It's something that Michael Malone has just harped on again and again and again. I mean, the Nuggets shot 37.5% from the field. They did shoot 46.9% from the three. That, again, was just guys getting left wide open. But, you know, this was a fast-paced game. That's why you see a 95-point score by the Nuggets, you know, but the Kings, of course, they come out with a 14-point win. This was a good, solid
Yeah.
defensive effort. And, John, you know, late in this game, in the fourth quarter, we saw Isaiah Thomas playing with not Ben McLemore, not Jimmer Fredette, but with Ray McCallum in the backcourt. And they were using McCallum on the toughest guard, whoever it was that he needed to go guard. That's what he was doing. And I thought he did an excellent job. I mean, is he going to score a bunch of points? I know, you know, he goes 0 for 4 from the field. He's got 2 points on this game, and I know since the All-Star break, someone tweeted me earlier some mythical stats that you know, since the All-Star break, Jimmer has played 4 minutes and scored 3 points, and McCallum has played 28 minutes and scored 2 points, and that was probably before this game started. Or maybe it was during this game. And, you know, Ray McCallum has hardly scored at all, but that's not what it's about. It's about growing a young player, a player that you have to see what you have in Ray McCallum. I get why they're playing him. He does have a lot of potential. You know, he was a McDonald's All-American. He's a coach's son. He's a bright kid. He's got a lot of athleticism. He's 6'3". He's big. You know what, John? Ray McCallum is something different. That's what we've talked about for so long, that when the Kings go to the bench, especially, you know, there's not that much of a difference between what Isaiah Thomas brings and what Jimmer Fredette brings and what Marcus Thornton brings and what, you know, Ben McLemore brings. And I think with Ray McCallum, he brings something different. He's a guy who's long and can defend and can do some athletic things, and he's just a different type of player that I think this team's needed all season long.
All right, on that note, James, let's wrap up this edition of the Road Reaction post-game show here on CowbellKingdom.com. The Kings with a 195 victory over the Denver Nuggets, and they'll be back in action on Tuesday, taking on the Houston Rockets back home here at Sleep Train Arena. So be sure to check out the CK Press Box Report for all of your post-game coverage of that game on Tuesday night. So, again, the Sacramento Kings with a 109-95 victory over the Denver Nuggets. And join us next time. We'll be back not long from now. I believe that they'll have a game in Los Angeles, which we will cover on another edition of the Road Reaction postgame show. So for James Ham, I'm Jonathan Santiago. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of the Cowbell Kingdom Road Reaction postgame show.